and baste the top with some melted butter. Yeah. Hello and welcome to In the Kitchen with Matt. I am your host, Matt Taylor. Today, I'm going to show you how to make homemade hamburger buns. Oh yeah, I love homemade baked bread and rolls and buns. I do have a hot dog bun video already, and you can use that same recipe for hamburger buns, but I kind of like this recipe a little bit better. Turns out a little bit better, I think, for hamburgers. But you can use them interchangeably if you want for hamburgers or hot dogs. It's really simple to do, easy ingredients. If I can do it, you can do it. Before I move on, make sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell so you won't miss out on any of my new videos. Let's get baking. Down below in the description box, you'll find the list of the ingredients and their amounts. I have 1 cup of water here, and I heated it up to about 105 to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, which is right around 40 to 44 degrees Celsius. And I'm going to add in, from my sugar, I have 1/4 cup of sugar. I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of it. And then I want to add in 2 1/2 teaspoons of active dry yeast, or you can use rapid rise or instant yeast. And then another thing I want to do is I want to take about 1/4 cup of my flour and put that in there. And then with a fork, let's just mix this together. I'm going to come in with a whisk actually. I don't always put the flour in with the yeast right there, but for this particular recipe I do. So just give it a good whisk, and we're gonna let this sit and let the yeast mixture get nice and foamy, 10 to 15 minutes. All right, it should be really nice and foamy like this. See that? Okay. And now what we want to do is I'm going to set this aside for 1 moment. Come into a large bowl, and I'm going to add in 1 egg. You can leave the egg out if you don't eat eggs. The egg is going to help with the dough and make it a little bit more tender and help it to rise just a little bit higher, but it's not absolutely necessary. You can leave it out. So just whisk that up a little bit and then add in the rest of that sugar. Again, this is 1/4 cup of sugar, but you can divide that in half if you don't want it to be as sweet. But as it is, these aren't overly sweet. I like there to be just a slight sweetness, very slight sweetness to my hamburger buns, but you can half that to 2 tablespoons of sugar if you want. Now, I'm going to take my 2 tablespoons of butter, or you can use 2 tablespoons of olive oil or coconut oil, and I'm just going to barely melt this, just so it's a little bit warm and melted, not hot, and put that in there as well. All right, so I will add in that melted butter, and then come in here and add in our yeast mixture. And then I will just take my whisk and just whisk that all together. Awesome, I love homemade bread. Okay, and now at this point, I'm gonna add in about 1 cup of my flour. I have 3 cups of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour and you don't wanna buy bread flour, then you can use all-purpose flour, which is also called plain flour, depending on where you live. All right, so once I got that 1st cup whisked in, I'm gonna put the whisk away because now the mixture is gonna get too thick. And then I wanna add in about another cup of that flour and sprinkle on 1 teaspoon of salt. And then with a fork, I'm just gonna kind of mix that salt into that flour right there. Now I'm gonna switch to a wooden spoon, or if you are using a stand mixer, you'll use your dough hook, of course. My trusty wooden spoon. If you've followed my show, you have seen me make yeast-based doughs quite a bit. One of my favorite things to make. All right, we'll just kind of stir it. And if you're just coming over If you've just joined my channel from my cinnamon roll video, you'll notice I am still doing this by hand and still don't use a stand mixer. I still enjoy doing it by hand. Once I stop enjoying kneading by hand, then I will probably get a stand mixer. Or if someone gave it to me as a gift, I would probably use it. Okay, so you're going to keep stirring until it comes together. Or if you're using your stand mixer, because I don't want to dump in all of that flour, because we may not need it all. It's going to be sticky. At this point, it's tacky and sticky. I'm going to come to my floured work surface here. Just flour it. And let's drop that dough out. And then at this point, we want to knead the dough. But I don't want to add too much flour to the dough, because we want the dough to be nice and soft with not a whole lot of flour, not a lot of extra flour. So only use it as enough. Even if it's a little bit slightly sticky on your hands, that's okay. You just don't want to overdo the flour. So even if you're using that stand mixer, don't dump in all of the 3 cups of flour at once. And then we are going to knead the dough for about 10 minutes. And then I'm going to just fold this over and push down and out. Turn it, quarter turn, fold, push down and out, stretching the dough and exercising that gluten. Alright, so you're going to keep kneading it until it should still be kind of slightly sticky, but it's not going to stick to your finger. But if you were to keep kneading it, it might stick to your palm just a little bit, and that's okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come underneath it with my palms here and shape it into a round ball. And then take it to my big bowl here. I just rinsed it out, same bowl as before, and I have about 1 to 2 teaspoons of olive oil in there, and just cover it with oil and kind of get up the sides of the bowl. Okay, and then just leave it in here. We're going to cover it with a damp cloth or like plastic wrap, and then we're going to just set it in a warm place to rise, and let it rise for 1 to 2 hours. 1 to 1.5 hours until it just doubles in size. All right, on to that step. All right, and when the dough is done rising, it will have doubled, at least doubled in size, something like this. Great, and now we're gonna just push that down and get that air out of there. And then I have about maybe 1/4 of a cup left of that flour, and I'm just gonna lightly dust that table, and we'll take the dough, and then I want to get about 8 or so equal pieces out of this. And so the easiest way, you can weigh the dough, but the easiest way is just to shape it in about a rectangle like this, and then take a dough cutter or like a pizza cutter and divide the dough in half that way, and then in half again, and then in half again, like that. And we'll just go down the half this way. And now what we want to do is we want to shape these into our bun shapes. And so there's a couple of different methods that you can do this. You can just take the bottom, you can just take these and curl these in like that. And then you kind of pinch it at the bottom. Keep pinching on the bottom until it makes a ball that's nice and smooth on the top. And you can just take it and then take your hand and go like this and go underneath it, kind of like I did earlier with the big piece of dough. And then you can just pat it down, or lightly take your fingers and just kind of stretch it out a little bit. Use your palm until you get it to where it's about 4 inches in diameter, something like that is a good size. And then I have a sheet pan lined with a silicone mat. You can use parchment paper, or you can just lightly grease it. And then I'm going to put this one right here, like that. And then I'm going to do that with the rest of these. But you can shape these however you want. So if you get like a kind of a stickier surface, it works a little bit better. This little method like this kind of works like this. And you keep going loosely with your hand, and it just kind of gets that ball. This is a little more advanced technique, and it doesn't always work depending on how sticky or loose your surface is. So that part right there is that worked really nice. Alright, and now once you have them all shaped and on your pan, your sheet pan, if you don't have a big enough sheet pan, then you can do it in stages or use 2 separate pans or something like that. And what I'm going to do is you can lightly dust the top with a little bit of flour, or you can just take some cooking spray and just lightly spray the top. And the reason why we're doing that is we don't want it to stick to the plastic wrap. So we're going to just take some plastic wrap and then loosely put it over. We want the dough to be able to rise without having issues. But we also want to cover it so it doesn't dry out. And if you don't use the oil, or if you don't use flour or something, then the dough will stick. So just let that plastic wrap lay on there, just gently. And then we'll let this rise for another hour to an hour and a half. All right, once they have risen a bit, let's remove the plastic wrap, just gently pull it off the top. And you could probably get about 10 hamburger buns, depending on the size of the bun that you want. I'm going to scoot this out of the way a little bit. And now I have 1 egg and about a tablespoon, a couple teaspoons of milk, something like that. It doesn't have to be exact, just pour a little bit of milk in there. And let's make a little egg wash, okay? And also at this point, preheat the oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit or 190 Celsius. And then we just want to come in here and lightly baste the tops of these. We don't want to go too heavy-handed pushing down on that dough, because you don't want to release any of that air that we've built up letting the dough rise. So just be very gentle with it. And now we will sprinkle the tops with sesame seeds. I don't always do the sesame seeds, but it's kind of the classic hamburger look, right? Sesame seeds. And I know if I didn't put sesame seeds on here, people would call me out on it. So I'm doing sesame seeds this time. Like I said, I don't always do it, but it's kind of the classic hamburger look. So let's put them on here. All right, got those on. Now it's going to go in the preheated oven, again 375 Fahrenheit, 190 Celsius, and we're going to bake it for 15 to 20 minutes, and it's going to puff up a bit, and it's going to get nice and golden brown on the top. And when they come out of the oven, they will look something like this. Awesome. And then you can come in here if you want with some more melted butter. Make sure to clean your baster after using that egg and baste the top with some melted butter. Yeah. Awesome. And you just let them cool a bit. And then while they are cooling, you can cook your hamburgers and prepare all of your fixings. Oh yeah. And after it cools, we can assemble the burger. I'm gonna just come in here and cut this in half. It's nice, really soft bun. And then open that up. Yeah, look at that. Awesome. And then you can toast the bun if you want. It's always a good idea to toast the bun. But this time I'm not going to toast it. I'm going to lay down my thing of lettuce and then my burger patty with my cheese on it. And then a thing of tomato, pickles, bacon. My favorite topping is bacon. Drop a comment down below and let me know what your favorite burger toppings are. A little ketchup, a little mustard, and then this will go right on top. Oh yeah, look at that. Look at that. Awesome. All right, the hamburger buns are done and turned out fantastic, light and fluffy and buttery. Really easy to do, simple ingredients. If I can do it, you can do it. I'm Matt Taylor. This has been another episode of In the Kitchen with Matt. Thank you for joining me. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or requests, put them down below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thumbs up, down the corner, push it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and check out my other videos. Take care. Time for me to dive into this burger. Oh yeah, super excited. Grab this thing by 2 hands. Ooh. Mmm. Mmm. Mmm.